How you doing? I'm Callan and this is Slapped Ham. Today we're looking at some unsolved internet mysteries that even the police still can't figure out. But just quickly before we jump into these fascinating cases, remember to hit that subscribe button for more awesome creepy content just like this.
The format of the homepage for the website oct282011.com won't seem very odd to anyone who was using the internet in its earlier days. The page is relatively plain, it contains an all-black background and a few lines of white text linking to other pages. The text is cryptic and many believe that it might be a page for recruiting others into a cult. It was so concerning that authorities looked into the page but were unable to trace it. Many of the internet users who heard about the page were curious about the bizarre links that the page redirected to. It seemed to be filled with strange puzzles that other users were meant to crack. The site took users to crude drawings of pyramids and others appeared to be Schrodinger's cat. However, the most tempting part of the mystery was a phone number. For a while, it seemed like the courage of the internet failed. Despite being part of one of the most prevalent unsolved internet mysteries, no one reported calling the number. That is, until the date referenced in the site, October 28, 2011, came and went without incident. The website never changed, keeping the same mysteries it had always held. Disappointed by the anticlimactic turn of events, some followers of this mystery finally made calls to the phone number listed on the site. Their reports were terrifying. Many reported hearing a long silence followed by muffled voices or heavy breathing. At least one person claimed to have heard a heavy object being dragged across a floor. Some said that the things they heard were so disturbing that they couldn't bring themselves to repeat them. Eventually, the website disappeared from the internet without explanation. Some users believed that the government shut down the page, perhaps to protect the users from whatever horrifying things had been on the other end of the phone line. If you try to visit mortis.com, you'll be greeted with an error message. However, that wasn't always the case. According to the stories surrounding this defunct website, that's because the federal government of the United States shut the page down when it gathered too much attention, leaving it one of the most unusual unsolved internet mysteries in history. The original website was simple. Upon visiting mortis.com, users would see a screen that was largely blank, except for a prompt to enter a username and password. Once the site was discovered, many took the challenge attempting to crack the login page. Some of the best hackers in the business attempted to break their way into the site, but none were successful. However, techies who investigated mortis.com were able to determine that the site was hosting huge amounts of data. This added fuel to the mystery. What could a completely locked website contain that required terabytes of data? Internet sleuths eventually tracked down the name of the site's owner, Tom Ling. According to their investigations, Ling was the owner of a number of unusual websites. One of the strangest was Cthulhu.net, a single page with a white background upon which was written the phrase, "dead but dreaming." There was nothing else linked to the site. Just as the investigation into Ling's series of websites was reaching a fever pitch, Mortis.com and all of Ling's other sites were abruptly taken down by the FBI. Users immediately began to speculate that Mortis.com had been some sort of data warehouse for information about the US government's more shady activities, but no one knows for sure what was really behind its mysterious login page. Even if you put Mortis.com into Web Archive, you get the message, "Sorry, this URL has been excluded from the Wayback Machine." Like many of the most interesting unsolved internet mysteries, the story of Lake City Quiet Pills begins on Reddit. In 2009, a Reddit post was made reporting that a fellow user going by the name Religion of Peace had passed away. The user who wrote this memorial, 2-6, had made their account that day to inform the Reddit community of their friend's passing. While this seems like a simple story, it gets much more complicated. Users who had interacted with the deceased Redditor began looking through his post history to find bits of information about him. It seemed that he had a history with the military and loved to insult internet trolls. He also moderated a subreddit called Jailbait, a page for posting racy photos of young-looking women. However, the most interesting thing that they found was only discovered through a lot of digging into both the deceased Redditor and the friend who memorialized him. Dedicated Redditors eventually found a link to the place where Religion of Peace worked, an image hosting site called LakeCityQuietPills.com. Some speculated, based on the fact that user 2-6 had only created an account to inform the site of his friend's passing, that the whole thing may have been a publicity stunt for the creepy website. Despite these speculations, many users began using the site for their own images to memorialize the fallen Redditor. Then, some of the more tech-savvy members of the Reddit community began noticing unusual things in the website's code. Bits of text that seemed to be hidden calls for hitmen. After further research, some Redditors discovered a factory called Lake City Ammunition Plant, giving a chilling new meaning to the quiet pills referenced in the website's title. Some users reported the information to local authorities, but no one knows what became of the investigation. The story of Chip Chan sounds like a terrifying and surreal version of The Truman Show, but it's all too real to many internet users who are fascinated by unsolved internet mysteries. Many of those who follow this story are in fear for a young woman's life. She is known only as Chip Chan. She appears to be a young Korean woman whose life is constantly streamed on a webcam on the internet. It isn't a hidden camera, however, she's clearly aware that she's being filmed. She spends much of her time sleeping, but when she is awake, she often seems to be hiding from the camera. At other times, she attempts to communicate with those watching the footage by holding up signs written in Korean. According to those who can read the language, her messages are terrifying. She claims that she's being held hostage and controlled by a microchip implanted in her ankle. Her communications are often cryptic, such as, "The stalker used this skill from 2006. I have slept for 20 hours every day since then. I do not know what have happened while I sleep. I have been always afraid of sleeping." Users believe that she was a kidnapping victim, as she often mentioned a mysterious person called P, who she blames for her situation. People watching the live stream were eventually able to get in contact with Korean police, who investigated the incident. They later stated that Chip Chan is mentally ill and is being a nuisance to police. However, many believe that the young woman really is in danger from her mysterious captor, and continue to watch her footage, hoping for clues that may lead to her rescue. Before we get to that number one spot and take a look at one of the more alarming unsolved internet mysteries, remember to hit that subscribe button and turn on channel notifications. That way you'll be completely up to date with all our latest content. 11B-X-1371, also known as the Plague Doctor video, is one of the few unsolved internet mysteries to immediately catch the attention of authorities. In this cryptic and frightening video, one of the most powerful people in the world was directly threatened, leading to an immediate response from police. The video appeared on a tech blog in 2015. It's a 2-minute black and white video featuring a mysterious figure in a plague doctor mask and a long robe. In the video, the figure paces around in what appears to be a rundown, abandoned building. In the background, there's a jarring buzzing noise. There are some trees visible through the windows, suggesting it's near a forest. The figure holds up his hand, revealing a light that blinks with no discernible pattern. While the video itself is creepy enough, viewers found even more encrypted in the video. The hidden elements are truly horrifying, depicting mutilated bodies and torture scenes. However, the element that got authorities interested was hidden in the video's soundtrack. The phrase "kill the president" was heard in the sound's encryption. Many believed then President of the US, Barack Obama, to be in danger from the video's creators. Authorities attempted to locate the person who posted the video, Parker Wright. Although traces of a user with the same name were found all over the internet, no one was able to link the accounts to a real person, even after Wright began to promise and deliver a sequel video containing even more cryptic clues. He has since promised to continue delivering clues until the mystery is solved. Many users and police tried to crack the code of the video, but the clues were just too numerous and too bizarre. President Obama's time in office has since ended without incident, but that hasn't stopped internet sleuths from continuing their attempts to decipher the video's series of cryptic clues.
If you want more unsolved mysteries, then check out that video on the top there. Otherwise, there's an entire creepy playlist there for you to binge on. Also, just a reminder, we've got some awesome Slapped Ham t-shirts available in our store now. There's a link in the description box below. And that's it for me. I'll see you all next time.